Hello, welcome to the Holmes Movies Podcast YouTube channel. My name is Anders Holmes. I do host the Holmes Movies Podcast, which you can find on Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, Podomatic, TuneIn, I have to remember where they are, and Stitcher. And I've been hosting it with my brother for a few years now. Adam, my brother, is not in this episode with me. He is unavailable, but we will be doing an episode on films to do that have weddings, films built that have weddings, like pivotal scenes that take place at a wedding. That's what we're going to talk about. So basically, it's just going to be us talking about The Godfather and Deer Hunter and Four Weddings and a Funeral and all that stuff. But it seems appropriate because Adam, he recently got married, and so yeah, it seemed pretty appropriate to talk about it. So I'm looking forward to doing that. So stay tuned for that. And yeah, we did do this YouTube channel to kind of sort of have it run along with the sort of the podcast, but we haven't exactly done much of that lately, so I feel like now it's time just to sort of get it back up and running. I haven't done a video like this since I went to go see Us, the new Jordan Peele movie, so I've been busy. What are you gonna do? But no, I thought for this episode I wanted to talk about a film which I just saw recently, actually a few minutes ago. I just came out of the movie theater and I just came back to talk about it now, so it's still very fresh in my mind. And that film is the Child's Play remake. Child's Play has a very special place in my heart, if I have to be really cheesy, because the Child's Play franchise, those films are some of my favorite horror films of all time. They're not like classics like The Exorcist or Night of the Living Dead or like Halloween. They're not like stellar like things like films like in that sort of caliber. I'm not trying to shit on those movies at all, but like I really love the Child's Play films. They're just, I feel like the tongue-in-cheek dark humor kind of it kind of fits quite well with my sort of taste, and just the genre of it is pretty cool. And I don't know, I just think the idea of a serial killer possessing a doll and then terrorizing this young boy, and this young boy trying to like get the adults to understand that this doll is alive. And I've been a huge fan of these movies since I was a teenager. I have them on DVD. I have the first one, Child's Play, which was directed by Tom Holland, who directed the great film Fright Night, the vampire movie from 1985. And Chris Sarandon, who plays the vampire in that movie, he plays Detective Mike Norris in this, and really started the whole franchise. And then you have Child's Play 2, which actually is one of my out of the sequels, I think this one's actually my favorite. Child's Play 3, which came out, Child's Play 2 came out in 1990, and this one came out just a year later, and it's kind of regarded as not everybody's favorite. I mean, I don't have that much of a problem with it. It's fine for what it is. Maybe Don Mancini was kind of running out of ideas, and the studio was like, make another Child's Play movie. This is golden for us. Come on. We gotta keep in the business of making horror movies. And you kind of get the feeling that maybe he didn't know what to do with the third movie. And this movie does have a bit of bad history. It did get kind of caught up in a murder case which happened in England a few years ago. So, after Child's Play 3 was released in 1991 and didn't exactly make as much money as the other two films, there wasn't another Child's Play film until 1998 when Chinese director Ronnie Yu took over the director's chair from Tom Holland, John Lafia, and Jack Bender, and brought us Bride of Chucky, which introduced the character of Tiffany. This is where the franchise goes in a more comedic and very tongue-in-cheek sort of route. And in the opening scene of the movie, where this police officer is walking around an evidence locker place, and there's a shot where you see, I think, the chainsaw from Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Jason Voorhees' mask from Friday the 13th, Freddy Krueger's glove, So basically, they all take place in the same universe, and Michael Myers' mask as well. So yeah, that was fun. There's a few little funny references. There's a moment in the movie where Chucky and Tiffany kill somebody with nails, and they're all over his head. And the character who played by Chief Kincaid, played by John Ritter, rest in peace. He looks like the horror character Pinhead, and there's a line from Chucky where he says, "Why does that look so familiar?" And so they're bringing this self-referential and a little bit silly, but kind of humorous. So yeah, that kind of took the franchise in a different sort of direction. And then you have Seed of Chucky, and this is the first time where Don Mancini, who had written all of the Child's Play films from 1998 with the first Child's Play 2, Child's Play 3, Bride of Chucky, he not only wrote the screenplay for this movie, he stepped into the director's chair for the first time and brought a Seed of Chucky, which is a weird movie, but very enjoyable. Like, Jennifer Tilly plays herself, like a fictionalized version of herself, and also the doll Tiffany, and Chucky has a son in this movie, played by Billy Boyd, who's Pippin in Lord of the Rings. There's John Waters. There's a girl from S Club who gets, like, burnt alive. And it's a very weird movie, but it's very, like, kind of enjoyable. And then, so that was the last movie that ever got theatrically released. And then it was in 2013, we got Curse of Chucky, which was Don Mancini's second film as a director. And for a straight-to-DVD movie, it's very good. Like, with that one, they took it all the way back to the style of the first movie, like a real straight horror movie. You know, granted, there are a few, like, great Chucky one-liners and, you know, all the, you know, Brad Dourif's, you know, great, you know, delivery of those lines is all there. All these really dark, you know, comedic lines. But this film felt more like a real gritty kind of horror movie, and, you know, really had the same tone of the first movie, and going away from the really sort of silly comedic stylings of Bride of Chucky and Seed of Chucky. And then it was really successful, and they made a sequel called Cult of Chucky, which I don't have on DVD or Blu-ray, but I'm not a particularly huge fan of that movie. I do like aspects of it. I don't know, maybe I have to watch it again, but that's the one where I feel like maybe they nuked the fridge, so to speak. And it's still ongoing. They have another film planned. They got a TV series. Brad Dourif is going to be in all of them. I think Jennifer Tilly is going to be in all of them. Fiona Dourif, Brad Dourif's daughter, who plays Nika, who shows up in Curse of Chucky and is also the main character in Cult of Chucky 2. She's obviously going to star in it. Alex Vincent, who played Andy Barclay in the first movie, he's going to be in it. I think the actress who played Kyle from the second film, who I thought was really cool, I think she's going to be in it. She shows up in a post-credit scene in Cult of Chucky. So yeah, I guess we're going to get more Chucky, which begs the question when it comes to the new film, which just came out recently. Why reboot a franchise that is still ongoing? It seems weird to continue reboot a franchise even when the original when the original series is still ongoing, and everybody from Don Mancini and Jennifer Tilly, they were really like, screw this movie, don't go watch it, watch ours. And Brad Dourif left a slightly cryptic, creepy, threatening message on Twitter for people to not go see this movie. And yeah, it was a bit weird. I don't know, like, I mean, they thought about remaking the movie themselves, but they didn't, and then they made Curse of Chucky. So it was very strange that they were going to do a new one, like remake the first movie, do that again. But I was just like, are we really going to do, like, is it going to be the same movie? Are we going to have, like, a guy doing a voodoo spell and transferring his soul into the doll and then having to, like, possess a child or whatever, or who the first person he gives his name to, like all that world building stuff in the first movie? But no, they went a completely different direction. They got rid, I mean, they still have the whole thing with the doll and the kid in this movie and same character names and stuff. But in this one, it's artificial intelligence that becomes self-aware and psychotic, which is kind of an original take, and also feel like people's, you know, feelings about technology, or, you know, still it makes the film, you know, it taps into that fear a little bit, and, you know, feels like a bit of a bloody Black Mirror episode with a killer doll voiced by Luke Skywalker. And I had some reservations about the movie. Being a fan of the original franchise, and just this is like my cult franchise. I wasn't like being like, fuck you for ruining my movies from my teenage life. I'm gonna go after Hollywood and petition to stop this movie being made. I'm not like that. I was open to see what the remake was going to be like. And I have to say, I was very surprised by how much I really enjoyed it. It stands on its own. It follows the similar storyline. It's set in an apartment building. You have a single mother. You have a lonely child. Aubrey Plaza, who plays the mother, is brilliant. I've slowly become more and more of a fan of her, and I think she did a really good job. And I think the relationship that she has with what's his name? Like the relationship that she has with the actor who plays Andy, Gabriel Bateman. They had a really, really strong relationship. I really bought that mother and son relationship. It was the first time she's ever played that role in a film before. I don't think she's ever played a mom or anything like that, and I think she did really well, and it seemed very believable. And like I said, the chemistry was really good. I think they felt like the more fleshed out characters, and they felt a little bit three-dimensional and had a slight bit of depth to their characters. And but that's not to say like no one else gave a really bad performance or anything like that. I just think the writing in a lot of the other supporting characters didn't exactly create interesting and fleshed out characters. Like anytime when one of these characters gets threatened or killed by the doll, that it's frightening, but it's never like, no, not him, he was amazing, or anything like that. No. But there's some pretty good kills in this movie, pretty graphic as well. It was very intense. It had without really getting too it's not like chucking blood at the screen or anything like that, but it's very it doesn't have that jump scare feeling. It has a few of those elements, like it does. Obviously modern horror films always have these kind of jump scare moments in movies, but I feel like this one tried to avoid that really well by having really slowly building up the tension and then paying it off nicely. So there were some good moments there, a few jump scares here and there, but nothing that really sort of made me feel like, oh, come on, you can do better. God damn it. They never learn. Didn't you see The Nun? Damn you.